Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. Our topic for tonight is Social Security Benefits 101. So we're going to go over basic things to think about and other things to consider as you're deciding the best time for you to take Social Security. Before we begin, just brief introductions. My name is Heather Jordan. I'm the Managing Director for Emerj360. We are a division of TrustPoint, and we focus on investment management and financial planning. I am a CFP, or Certified Financial Planner, so I do all of the financial plans for Emerj360 clients as well as TrustPoint clients as well. Brett Zibian is our financial coach. He is not on the call today, but he is a big part of the Emerj360 team. He does a lot of education for folks and is also very heavily focused in investments. So our agenda for today we're going to talk about different misconceptions that people have brought up about Social Security. We're going to go over some basics, when to begin benefits, how taxability works, retirement planning, and then just some additional resources you can go through as you're considering, again, when the best time to take Social Security is for you. So first, I want to start off just with some misconceptions. And these are things that we hear all the time from clients, people in the community, things that are just common misconceptions. So the first one is that Social Security is going broke. So the fact is that without any changes, the Social Security Trust Fund is estimated to be depleted by 2034. However, this is a pay-as-you-go system, and it'll continue to collect revenue from payroll taxes over time. Even if Congress were to enact no changes, which is pretty unlikely, based on kind of the incoming payment collections, they would still be able to pay about 78% of benefits. So it'll still be around, and maybe it'll be a different shape, different form, different timing. However, people are still working and people are still contributing to this fund. Second is that full retirement age is age 65 for everyone. This is not true. So this depends on your year of birth. If you Google, when is my full retirement age, there'll be a nice chart, again, based on your year of birth, and it ranges from 65 to 67, and we will go over that a little bit later on in the presentation. Next is that Social Security will replace most of retirees' income needs. So some people think, I don't have to save for retirement because Social Security is going to be around. That's what I'll pull from to cover all my expenses. So it was never intended to pay for all of your expenses. Kind of the general rule of thumb is that it's going to replace about 40% of your pre-retirement income. And this is just for someone with an average lifetime earnings. If you are a super high earner, this is going to replace less of your pre-retirement income. So really, really important to keep contributing to 401ks, IRAs, keep saving for retirement, even if you're going to file for Social Security later on. And then next, earned income is not allowed while collecting Social Security benefits. This is not true. So you are able to continue working after you receive your benefits. We'll go over a little bit later in the presentation what that could look like for you. But if you collect benefits before your full retirement age, and have income which exceeds an earnings limit, then a portion of your benefits will be reduced. Again, we'll go over that a little bit later on in the presentation, but you are able to have earned income even after you file for Social Security. Next, I just want to move on to some basics and things that I think most people should know as you think about this. So to start off, just basic terminology. So sometimes people think they're talking about SSI, SSDI, what is Social Security? So just wanted to put together some basic terms. So SSDI is Social Security disability benefits. This is work-based disability income. SSI is supplemental security income. This is needs-based disability income. What we are talking about today is Social Security, and this is what people refer to as retirement benefits. So if you hear people talking about SSDI and SSI, that is not the same thing that we're talking about today. Again, this is specifically for retirement benefits. So how do benefits work? I get this question all the time, how do I file? How does that work? So essentially, Social Security replaces a percentage of your pre-retirement income based on your lifetime earnings. The portion of your pre-retirement wages that Social Security replaces is based on your highest 35 years of earnings and varies depending on how much you earn and when you choose to start benefits. When you work, you pay taxes into Social Security. It's not paid into a specific account for you. It's paid into one account that gets paid out to people who are collecting Social Security. So it gets paid out to people who have already retired, people who are disabled, survivors of people who have died, and dependents and beneficiaries again. So you're not paying into a fund specifically for you. It's one Social Security fund. Those funds are taken and paid out to people who are currently receiving benefits. So who is eligible? When you work and pay Social Security taxes, you earn what's called credits towards Social Security benefits. The number of credits you need depends on when you were born. So for most people on this call, that's going to be 40 credits. So typically 10 years of work is what you'll need to be eligible to have Social Security payments. If you stop working before you have enough credits to qualify, so the credits don't just disappear, they'll remain on your record, and then if you return later, more credits can be added. But until you have those 40 credits, no retirement benefits can be paid. So think about that as you're thinking about if you're working, if you're not working, if you ever worked. Really, really important to have those 40 credits. You can apply for benefits no more than 4 months in advance of your benefit start date. So if you've done a financial plan and you said, yep, I want to take benefits at age 66, you can apply no more than 4 months before that. So how much you received is based on a couple different things. It depends on how many years of earnings you had. Remember, it takes the highest years of earnings and uses those figures and calculations, your average earnings, and timing of claiming benefits. We'll cover a little bit later on that there are different strategies for when you take Social Security. If you take it early, there's a reduced benefit, and if you take it after your full retirement age, there's a permanent increased benefit. So different strategies people can take based on if you want to file for Social Security and wait to pull from your investments, or the opposite, you pull from your investments and then wait to file for Social Security. The average benefit, if you're curious, is about $1,600, and the maximum that you can take from Social Security, that's if you've had the maximum lifetime earnings and you've delayed until age 70, is about $4,500. So another common question we get from people is, how much does this increase? So every year there's a different inflation cost of living adjustment that is applied towards Social Security. You can see this chart goes all the way back to 1975 and is all the way through 2023. If you were collecting Social Security payments back in 2022, you saw that huge increase of 8.7%. That was the biggest increase since the 80s. Typically, the increase is around 2, 3, 4%. For 2023, it's 3.2%. So again, that increases each year depending on a different cost of living adjustment that is set for all of Social Security. So we know when we file, but we have to file 4 months before, but what ages can we file? So you can begin benefits anytime between ages 62 and 70. You must be at least age 62 for the entire month to be eligible to receive benefits. If you were born on the first or second day of the month, you meet this requirement in the month of your 62nd birthday. If you were born on any other day of the month, so any other day besides the first or the second, you don't meet this requirement until the following month. Again, you can apply up to 4 months before you want your benefits to start. So if you turn 62 on December 2nd, you can apply for benefits as early as August. Even if you're not ready to retire and start collecting Social Security, you should always sign up for Medicare 3 months before your 65th birthday. So Medicare is healthcare. Social Security is a monthly payment that goes into your account. So when to begin benefits. So all of this is great, but the big question is, when should that happen? You can take it from age 62 to 70. You have a full retirement age. What does that look like for you? So there's a couple different things you should think about as you're trying to determine when the optimal time to take Social Security is. You should consider life expectancy, your income needs, spousal benefits, and changes in employment. So given all these things, it's probably better to take benefits earlier if you're no longer working and you find it difficult to cover your annual expenses. So maybe taking distributions from your investments isn't covering your mortgage and groceries and utilities, and you need those extra funds. That's a good time to file earlier so you start receiving Social Security earlier. If you are someone who's in poor health and you don't expect to survive a member of the household to make it to average life expectancy, that is a time to take benefits earlier. And then if you're the lower earning spouse and your higher earning spouse can wait to file, that might be a time that you can take Social Security earlier. On the flip side, it's better to take it later if you're still working and make enough to impact the taxability of your benefits. We'll cover that in a couple slides as well, but there's a certain amount that you can make for your benefits to not be taxable. It's also good to wait if you're in good health and expect to exceed the average life expectancy. So if your family has a history of living until you're 100, it's probably best to wait as long as you can to file Social Security because you're going to get a higher benefit. And then if you're the higher earning spouse and want to be sure your surviving spouse receives the highest possible benefit, you should take benefits later rather than sooner. So this chart is a little bit of what we talked about earlier. So full retirement age, remember, it's not 65 for everyone. It's based on your birth year. So find the year you were born, look to the right. That is your full retirement age. That's not the age that you have to work until. That's the age that you get 100% of your Social Security retirement benefit. Again, you can take benefits as early as age 62 and as late as age 70. If you take it early, there's a permanent decrease in benefits. If you take it later, there's a permanent increase in benefits. So again, a couple decisions to make there based on your life expectancy, your expenses, your spousal support, things like that. All of that comes into play when deciding when to take Social Security. So this chart shows kind of what the difference would be if you take your benefit early versus taking it later. So 0 in the middle says 100%. That would be if you retired and took your benefit at your full retirement age. You get 100% of your Social Security benefit. If you take it early, you would get only 93.3% of your benefit. And that's for the rest of your life as long as you take benefits. So it's a permanent decrease. If you take it 5 years before your full retirement age, you're going to get 70% of what your benefit would have been. Again, that 70% is going to be consistent for the rest of your life as long as you're taking Social Security benefits. On the flip side, your benefit increases if you wait until after your full retirement age. So if you wait 1 year after your full retirement age, your benefit is going to be 108% of what it would have been. 2 years, 116%, 3 years, 124%, and 4 years, 132%. So it's a pretty big increase if you wait until after your full retirement age. This comes into play when we do financial plans for people. Again, what is the optimal time? There's different strategies based on your investments, based on other factors, based on when your spouse is going to take. So you don't have to take it at the same time as your spouse. So sometimes we see people, one spouse takes at full retirement age, one takes later, maybe one takes early, one takes at full retirement age. Tons of different strategies that are out there, kind of based on what your comfort level is and what the numbers say. So if you're ever curious when people claim Social Security benefits, these are the average ages. So the average person claims benefits at age 41, or excuse me, at age 62. 41% of people claim at age 62. Only 22% claim at 66. So what this is saying is almost half of people file early. I think some people need to, right? They need to have those funds coming in to cover their bills. I think some people just don't know when the optimal time to take that is, so they just take it right away. So that's kind of our goal of this presentation, is just to give you some education and some options to think about as you make this decision with your spouse. Again, 40% of people take it at 62, 12 at 65, 22 at 66. Kind of goes down as you go up in age. So if you've done any sort of financial plan or done a financial calculator, there is what's called a break-even age for Social Security. And this chart shows exactly that. So I'm going to go through this example. This isn't one specific client. This is just an example of what it could be for this individual. So on the left, you can see monthly Social Security benefits. So at their benefit at age 62, 67, and age 70. So again, as you pass your full retirement age, if you take benefits later, your benefit will be increased. Take it before, benefit will be decreased. So in this example, at age 76, that's the age at which the cumulative benefit of collecting at 67 would surpass the benefit of collecting at 62. Moving to 78, that's the age at which the benefit of collecting at 70 would surpass the benefit of collecting at 62. And then at age 80, that's the benefit of collecting at age 70 would surpass the benefit of collecting at age 67. So this might be really confusing to you, but this is where a financial plan can come into play to say, if I live this long, what's the optimal time to take Social Security? Obviously, no one has a crystal ball. You never know what's going to pop up health-wise or financial needs-wise. But we can do a general estimate of, if you live till a certain age, what's the best time to take Social Security. This is just an example of what our planning looks like at Emerj360. This is not a real client. This is just a sample client and a Social Security analysis worksheet. So we provide this to all of our clients that we do financial planning for. We go through their specific plans, so their assets, their goals, their investment strategy, their risk tolerance, all of those different things. And then we do this analysis, which helps them come up with when the optimal time to take Social Security is. So in this example with Tim and Susan Smith, we can see if they take Social Security as soon as possible, which would be at 62, if they take it at when they retire, if they take it at full retirement age 70, and then if the ages differ. So using this example, we can see that these sample clients do the best when they take it at age 70. So closer to the right-hand side, if they take Social Security at age 70, that's going to be their maximum lifetime benefit and highest probability of success. You can see their lowest probability of success would be if they take it as soon as possible at age 62. So kind of going back to those statistics before where it says 40% of people take their benefit at age 62. That's an example of when this is not the best time to take it for Tim and Susan Smith. So just because your friends are taking it, or coworkers or family are taking Social Security at certain times, doesn't mean that's the right time for you. So everyone has a different situation, and that's why I think a financial planner can really put some numbers in place for you and lay it out and say, okay, this is the optimal time to take Social Security for my specific situation. So earnings and taxes. So remember before we talked about you still are able to have earnings even if you're collecting Social Security. There are different rules around that, and just want to go over super high level what that is on this slide. So for retirees collecting Social Security benefits before their age, Social Security will take back $1 of benefits for over $2 for every $2 over the earnings limit. And that should say for 2023, the earnings limit is $21,240. So they're going to take back $1 of benefits for every $2 over that earnings limit. And that's if you collect it before your full retirement age. Income earned during the year of your full retirement age, so whatever year that is, during the year you reach that and up to the month of your full retirement age, Social Security will deduct $1 of benefits for every $3 over the earnings limit. And again, that should say for 2023, the earnings limit is $56,520. On the right, so income earned after your full retirement age. Remember back to that chart, going to your year and what your full retirement age is. Anything you earn after that rate, after that age, there is no limit. So if you want to earn $100, great. If you want to earn $1 million, great. There's no earnings limit after you reach that full retirement age. Some of your Social Security benefits may be taxable. Highly recommend you work with a CPA if you don't already, but they will be able to tell you how much of your income is taxable. You can also Google a chart online, Social Security taxability. It'll come up with figures as well. Another common question that we get from people is spousal and family benefits. So upon starting Social Security benefits, some members of your family may also be entitled to receive benefits from your Social Security earnings record, or you may qualify to receive benefits from their earnings record. So this can get kind of complicated. I recommend, again, working one-on-one with a financial planner or going into the Social Security office, and they can cover this in more detail with you. If you want to just sit and look at this and think about your own situation, you can go to the Social Security website, and all of this will be on there as well. So spousal benefits, if you start between the spouse's age 62 and full retirement age, again, permanently reducing those monthly benefits, may be affected by that earnings test. If you start after the spouse's full retirement age, you receive the greater of 50% of your monthly benefits or the spouse's full retirement age benefit as well. So again, take a look at the Social Security website, visit the Social Security office. They have a ton of really good pamphlets that you can sit down and think about your own situation and how that would work. There are children's benefits as well. So eligible children, including biological, adopted stepchildren, and or dependent grandchildren, may also qualify for benefits, but they must meet the qualifications listed on the screen. And then there are some ex-spouse benefits as well. You can see those qualifications listed on the right of the screen. An ex-spouse benefit does not affect the benefit you or your family may receive. So that was high level Social Security, when you can take it, how much it is. I highly recommend that you go to the Social Security website. You can actually create an account, and all of your earnings history will be in there, and you can get an exact amount of what your benefit would be at 62, 65, your full age 70. It'll be what your payment is, unless you have a big pay change coming up in the next couple of years. So if you're about 5 years from retirement, highly recommend going on, creating that account, and seeing what your benefit is, because that'll give you a more accurate number rather than just kind of guessing of what it could be. So this shows different amounts you should have saved for retirement. So remember, Social Security benefits are only intended to replace about 40% of your pre-retirement income. So the rest of it has to come from your retirement savings. So oftentimes it's a 401k or an IRA. So these are just basic statistics that we cover with people for how much you should try to have saved at certain ages, specifically for retirement. So it's a little bit shifted, but you kind of get the gist of it. So let's just say you are 45. You should have about 4 times your salary saved for retirement. If you are 30, about 1 times your salary. This is if you want to retire at age 67. If you are someone who wants to retire earlier than that, so maybe you want to retire at 60 or 62, you're going to have to save a little bit more aggressively than this. If you're someone who wants to work forever because you love your job, you love what you do, you want to work until you can't, you can afford to save maybe a little bit less than this. We covered this in a previous webinar, but I think it's really important because it does play into Social Security and your retirement spending and savings. We like to focus on things we can control and not on things we can't control. So what we can control today is our lifestyle pre-retirement level of spending today and our lifestyle in retirement. So maybe it's not feasible for me to travel every year in retirement. Maybe I can only travel every other year. Or maybe I don't buy a car every 5 years, I buy a car every 10 years. So kind of adjusting your lifestyle based on what you can afford. And then you can also control your asset allocation and asset location. So when I say that, I don't mean which firm you're working with. I mean what investment type account you are invested in. So there's pre-tax accounts, post-tax accounts, qualified accounts, all different types of accounts. Those are called asset locations. Things that you have a little bit of control over, again, duration of employment and earnings, longevity, and non-essential spending. The things that we shouldn't be spending our time worrying about because we can't control them are market returns, tax policy, and healthcare costs. These are things that we hear all the time from people that they are worried about, but worrying isn't going to change how the market performs or how the cost of healthcare is inflating. It's important to plan for them, but try not to worry about them and try to really focus your time and energy on the things listed at the top of this. Again, how much do I need for retirement? So we get this question again all the time. Is it 200,000? Is it 500,000? Is it a million? How much do I need? So no magic number because everyone has different saving strategies, different investment strategies, different spending strategies. It's different for every single person. But this is just kind of a general rule of thumb. So you need an approximate income replacement ratio of about 70 to 85% to pay for your retirement expenses. A good way to get there would to be saving about 15% annually in a 401k. That includes what you put in and what your employer puts in. And then I just wanted to throw in here the cost of healthcare for a couple. Not meant to scare you, it's meant to prepare you and help you save for these expenses. So although you're on Medicare likely, the cost is not free. You will still have some costs associated with that health insurance plan. And then lastly, I just wanted to go over a couple of resources. So again, going to that ssa.gov, that's the Social Security website. You can create an account for yourself. Your spouse can create that as well, and you can see what your benefit will be at different ages. Super, super helpful, especially as you get closer to retirement. You can kind of tie that figure into your budget to see what your benefit will be and how much you'll have to draw from your investments to come up with that difference to cover your bills. We also have a couple of different articles and resources on both the TrustPoint website and the Emerj360 website. If you search under retirement and Social Security, you'll find some good resources there that have some very basic information as well. And then lastly, if you are interested in meeting one-on-one with the financial planner, we'd love to work with you. We work with folks who have 50,000 and up in investable assets that they would want to work with us on. We do one-on-one financial planning, retirement planning, and we do talk about Social Security, your specific situation, and we come up with a plan to say, this is the optimal time for you to take Social Security given your circumstances. We do have a dedicated team, Brett and myself and a couple others, and then we have some really great technology for you to be able to view performance, view your accounts, things like that. Very great user platform as well. So let me know if you have questions or you're interested in working with us. We are happy to help and have some of those more detailed conversations regarding Social Security. And that is all that I had today. Thank you everyone for joining. We are recording today's webinar, so we'll be sending out this and posting it a little bit later on, but feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.